And I think we're live. I think this thing is working. I have absolutely no... There is the chat. Let me know if y'all can see me and hear me in the comment section. A little new setup for me this evening. Hoping everything's working well. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on the Four Horsemen podcast. I want to kick tonight off with a little monologue I've been doing just to kick off just about every live stream. What if collapse doesn't come with sirens? What if it comes with a buffering symbol? What if the first signs of real trouble isn't bombs falling, but your debit card declining? What if war doesn't start with boots on beaches, but with satellites blinking out, pipelines accidentally rupturing, and markets trembling before breakfast? What if the next pandemic isn't about a virus at all, but about control, compliance, and who decides what's essential? What if famine doesn't look like dust bowls and skeletons, but empty diesel pumps and silent trucks, and the shelves that don't get restocked on Tuesday? We don't need Hollywood to imagine the end of the world anymore. We have the headlines. Bank instability, proxy wars, record debt, fragile supply chains, cyber attacks, civil unrest, weather manipulation debates, grid vulnerability, political division at levels we haven't seen in generations. And the question isn't, are the horsemen coming? The question is, have they already saddled up? Tonight we're breaking down war, famine, pestilence, and the death of the economy. Not as fantasy, but as trajectory. No fear porn, no blind optimism, just pattern recognition. Because preparedness isn't panic, it's responsibility. And this is the Four Horsemen podcast. Welcome, everybody, to the Four Horsemen podcast. Thank you for joining us tonight. I really appreciate everybody coming out and hanging out with us this evening. Shout out to you, Teresa Buchanan, Eric N1RV, Betty Lou Tower, the roaming prepper. I see you in the chat, and I see you. Let's see who else we got in here. Ghost Lincoln, Yardbirds, Wisconsin Farm Boy, Anti-FU, Grouchy Old KY Guy, good to see you. Teresa Buchanan in the house. L-Dog, what's up? Hope everybody's doing well. MS Coast Cajun Prepper, William K's, good to see you. Phil R, thank you for being here. Dan H, my favorite masshole.
That was easy.
Thank you for being here tonight. And welcome to the Four Horsemen podcast. This panel really needs no introduction. They can introduce themselves if they want to, though. Why don't we start to my my right, which is my left, which is this guy right over here, right over here. What the heck is going on with my camera? That thing just went crazy. Vision, preparedness, my brother from another mother. Good to see you. Thank you for being here tonight. Four Horsemen podcast. He's marathon streaming every Tuesday, need it or not. The roaming prepper right below me, but never below me. The roaming prepper in the house, and my other half down over here, the Livingston man himself. Thank you for joining us tonight. Hang on a second here. I gotta see if I can fix my camera. I don't know what the heck I did to it. It's like glitching out and going all... Oh, I put like a virtual background on or something. Whatever. Yep. But thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. And welcome to the Four Horsemen podcast, everybody. The first question I have for the horsemen tonight is for we're going to call you the economic death horseman tonight, Livingston man. You are more than just regular death. You are economic death as well. So this question is posed to you first, my friend, and then we'll kick it off to the rest of the panel. The first question tonight If the U.S. experienced a 72-hour nationwide banking freeze, what would fail in your community first? And how long before the panic becomes unrest?
Ooh, that's a good one.
All right. The first thing we can do right off the bat, the banking collapse, like complete, like you got no money except what you had at home. I mean,
You're breaking up, Lou.
microphone check.
There you go.
Okay, now you're back. I turned the background music off, so I don't know what happened there. That was really weird.
The background music's going to interfere with the noise canceling on us all, and it's going to try to tell. It doesn't know who's talking when you have background music.
Gotcha. We'll let you go.
So the first thing that's going to stop is like around here, it's a lot of, Christ, in Livingston, like out of the probably 1,500 person workforce among all the things that are here, supermarket, gas stations, we got a hardware store, we got some liquor stores and whatever. We don't have big retail stuff going on, but closer out to Hudson Way, Greenport, there's big, huge box stores and fast food and all this sort of things. That's immediately all going to stop. All these people literally have nothing to do but stay home because nobody's going to go to work when there's nobody that's going to come to the store and nobody's getting paid. All that just grinds to a halt. And you end up with this like CVID era, almost like a lockdown, where just if there's going to be like a rough 3-5 days where everybody just kind of doesn't know what to do, glued to the phones, waiting for anybody to tell them what to do, some kind of guidance. And then you know what kind of government nonsense arises in those situations is, in fact, you get what you ask for and somebody comes along and starts telling you what to do and how to act. They're going to, I don't know how long it would take for actual unrest to occur. Like, again, I'm using Livingston as my backdrop, and we're not exactly a bunch of revolutionaries out here going to start taking to the streets. There's no streets to take to. What are we going to do? Smash up Hannaford? Like, fuck that for what? In other places, certainly, especially the cities, and the bigger the population centers, we've touched on this before, that is where the brush fires will start. Simply more people, simply more need in terms of what people need and the societal dependence they have as opposed to like us country folk will accelerate the decline of the urban centers much faster than I think you'll see in more rural settings. Inevitably, without money, period, and no way to for even the high class financiers and global people to access funds, you're just talking that's beyond a shutdown. That's a reset. Like your save game has been deleted, and you are got to start over. To put it in video game terms.
Yep.
So, what do you think? What do you think would fail first in your neck of the woods? What would be the first thing to go? In all honesty, your honest thoughts, just off the top of your head. What do you think the first domino to fall is?
Basic supplies. The same CVID nonsense with the classic essentials just wiped off the shelves.
Yeah.
By people who are either they're panic buying or are trying to gain some post-event leverage and are basically scalpers or price gougers, if
like
you will.
The guy who bought 100,000 damn hand sanitizers. And
sure, that'll be the first things. And so basic necessities just disappear unless you've hoarded them or prepped them, and use those words interchangeably how you will. And after that, it becomes extremely just more difficult. Like even during CVID, there was. In some places, the so-called shutdown hit harder, but I felt lied to. Like I was living on the farm in my little 3-mile triangle, just being told news of the outside world, thinking like shit was not popping out there, like nothing was going on. And then one day we went to ShopRite in Hudson, and there was like food on the shelves and people in the store, and like the world had not stopped, as I had literally been kind of led to believe. And that put the crack in the whole thing for me. So also there's a lesson about like know where you get your news from, and just make sure you kind of see the real world. Because like I said, when that happened, I was led to believe by media and government that like it was the actual apocalypse out there, and that was proven to be exaggerated, to say the least.
So how long do you think before the panic sets in on people, and before the panic turns into the unrest, the pushing and the shoving?
All right, now I'm going to I said that I didn't know, and I kind of, there's really no way this is pure speculation, but actually the panic is going to occur immediately. Let's call it that morning. Everybody starts getting that surprise text, or if that even happens, or, just the entire world will say, finds out that all their, digital money that they don't physically possess is gone. Panic instantly. Absolute, like people throwing themselves out of windows, and like all absolute, like remember that movie The Happening, I think it was called? People just dropping dead and fucking
Yeah.
complete nightmare. Like I first see that like that morning.
It's like Black Friday from the Depression, but on crack.
Yeah, right. when that information starts to go global, like, dude, I can't even imagine, but I know that it's going to be like instant.
I agree with you.
The whole world's going to say, "Fuck it, all right, return to innocence." Hey, it's over, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the waves.
I think you're right, old grouchy Kentucky guy. 100%. As soon as some people post it on Facebook, the bank runs will start. Agreed. The roaming prepper, your thoughts?
And that's a good one. I'm gonna have to go backwards, and so companies that have trucks on the road, right? The United, the Krogers, Key Foods, HEBs, the trucks are gonna still go. It's not uncommon a bank or company has an account get hacked, or they have a technical issue. So you'll see the trucks will continue. The fuel will still be delivered because the machinery, the equipment's going, right? Where the panic I think is going to happen is not going to be in the companies, because their protocols for, there's a payment issue. Okay, well, you just write up an IOU, and when their banking gets, you give them their ticket. I think Livingston Man's spot on. It's going to be the overreacting people that are going to spawn the lemming effect, where one group of lemmings freaks out and buys a whole truck of toilet paper, and now all of the lemmings are buying toilet paper, but they don't know why, because COVID didn't give you the runs. Yeah, it just what will happen, though, is because people do rely, and we've been taught to rely on our little squares that have a little chip that you beep, bop, boop, and things get purchased. They will not be able to purchase beep, bop, boop. And the psychological panic will hit. I actually think, I don't think systems will fail. I think the citizenry will fail. People's psychology will just melt, because they can't do what is normal. It would be like all social media going dark for a week.
Yeah.
A lot of us would be like, well, I'm going to go take a walk. I'll go check my YouTube account later, and hopefully it came back, but it's not a showstopper. But a lot of people will lose their biscuits. I think the psychology will happen, and then that effect Livingston Man spoke of, where people will be like, oh my God, my 401k is gone.
Yeah.
Well, 100 years ago, it was like there was no 401k. It was like, well, you just worked till you died, or you were disabled and somebody took care of you, and you like collected eggs for the younger generation. No, I think the people will fail psychologically before any systems go down.
I agree. Yeah, I think just the news alone is going to break a lot of people. Because most people exist in a cashless society nowadays.
Yeah.
Let's see. There was a comment here in the drops said, if truck drivers won't be able to get fuel or nothing, you watch how fast they head for home if they can. So most tractor trailer drivers are not paying for hundreds and hundreds of dollars in diesel in cash anymore. They're all swiping that company card.
Right.
So when these truckers get to the gas stations, I think that's where the first problems are going to arise, right?
Some have contingencies where they can fill out, give your driver number and the company show your company number. Card.
Oh, I sure hope so, Pete. I really
But not
do.
everybody.
I know, and that's where some of the first problems are going to come in.
Do you know that's why in some places certain gas stations don't close even during like states of emergency and whatnot, like the Walmart up the road from me? I was like, I can't believe you guys ain't just closed, and they're like, we can't. It's a thing, like a strategic thing for trucking and whatnot, because they have a diesel platform, patio, whatever you call them things. They can't close. They have to remain open, and those pumps have to remain working no matter what's going on.
That's awesome. Vision, preparedness, my brother from another mother. What are your thoughts on if the U.S. experiences a 72-hour nationwide banking freeze? What's failing first in your community, and how long before the panic becomes unrest?
Well, banking freeze. In my community, the first things that are going to be hit are the mom and pop stores. You know, there are no big box stores. You know, we got the oil change place, we got Dollar General, you know, the drive-through, the local mom and pop grocery store, all the restaurants where the great home cooking is, the hole in the wall pubs. Those are going to be the first ones affected. But, you know, I learned from Professor John Wick if you have, you know, cash, they're going to stay open for a short term, a day, maybe two. By 72 hours, that's what, 4 days, if I'm not mistaken, if the math is mathing.
3 days, right?
3 days. So
3 days.
Day two, they may still be the same thing. You know, we got Ace Hardware and all that, but by day 3, now you've got widespread panic because those people no longer are staying in the community to buy things. They're going to the big box stores and the, you know, the grocery stores, the Krogers, the Piggly Wigglies, all of that stuff to see what they can get from there, but they're going to experience the same thing. So I say by day 3, it's going to be panic, unrest. I don't know, because like you and I, we don't need to go nowhere.
Yeah.
We'll stay home and just ride it out for as long as it isn't working. But I say by day 3, there is going to be mass chaos in the community, and it's going to spread across the state. And then, we got issues. But I know trucks that will still be rolling because our inventory and product just went up.
True story.
And we too will be delivering to a house near you food that you may or may not want, but you're going to need it. So
we're expanding into all avenues of homewares. We have all the Vice on lockdown. We are coming out with an alcoholic beverages line. We already have preserved smoked meats. We have canned tinned meats. We are working on the freeze-dried blend isn't ready yet. We're working into pet food. We are diversifying. You want cigarettes? We got those. Don't ask what they're made of. I don't.
That's correct. Just smoke it and light it and know that it burns.
I'd like to visit, if we can, the one fella, he said, and I was sitting here thinking about this. I completely missed the part of your question where he said this was for 3 days. I was like out here on some apocalypse shit. 3 days. And he said it depends on whether you know it's coming or not. And if you know it's going to be 3 days or not. If you know it's going to be 3 days, I think everybody's just going to buck it up and take it. But if it comes out of nowhere, don't know how long it's going to happen, then yeah, I think my scenario. But if this is some announced planned thing, the government's just going to flex and hold our money for 3 days, I think everybody would just eat it, get over it.
Yeah.
It just depends on whether they give us our money back.
Correct. But the bigger question is, what's it going to look like when it comes back up?
Very true. Very, very true. Vision preparedness. That is a great question, because it might not have the same look it did when it all fell apart, right?
Bingo. That right there, my friend, is the key.
Hmm. My very next question. I'm going to try this this whole music thing again.
Okay.
I don't want it to be too loud. I don't want it to drown us out, but maybe just a little fire for effect here. Okay. Next question is for specifically very first person, the War Horse, who's been very, very busy lately. The roaming prepper. This next question starts with you, my friend. At what point does a proxy conflict officially become World War III? And are we closer to that threshold than the public realizes?
That's a loaded question.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, that's shoot.
Right.
And because you don't want to freak people out, but let's look at the academic side of it. What was it we talked about earlier? So they're defining, like, from the academic community, it involves one or more major powers that may be in direct conflict, more than one continent. It is affecting the global society, i.e. supply chain of fuel, stuff like that. And it threatens or is starting to drag alliances. And I think you touched on this in your video earlier. It starts sucking large groups together. This is what happened in World War I, right? People don't realize, like, World War I, didn't they kill the Archduke and war started? It was like a year and a half of little conflicts all over Europe. And then they killed the dude. And then it was like another 6 months of posturing. And then it blew up. So looking at those, you got Europe, Middle East, which you could technically say involves Africa and Asia, since the way it sits. So yeah, we've got multiple, and you're not including Venezuela at the time. So you got multiple continents. You technically have large alliances, right? BRICS versus the West. You could spin it that way. You can say NATO and the Federation, Russian Federation, i.e. China, Iran. And is it going to bring in larger groups? Well, this morning, Iran fired rockets at Greece.
Yeah.
At Cyprus. So now the Greek Navy has destroyers by the islands of Cyprus, and the Italians are in Sicily, making sure that errant rockets aren't coming at them, but they say this was deliberately fired at them. So this is where we start seeing alliances, and if that starts to happen, we might be really on a threshold right now that the general person in North America doesn't realize. And that's what scares me, is there's a historical precedent there, and we've checked all those little boxes except for maybe one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's we're getting really close to apocalypse bingo, gentlemen. Really close to apocalypse bingo.
You know, it was funny when we started the apocalypse bingo, and now it's not so funny anymore.
No, it's not funny now.
No, I am tired.
Our guesses were way too informed. It was like, man, that wasn't even fun. Fuck, I didn't want to be right on time.
Yeah.
Livingston Man, we weren't even into the new year yet, and Livingston Man already had one on the square. He got it in. There was like, a week between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah.
And his video came out just before Christmas, and sure enough, next week, first check mark on the box, and we're not even in 2026 yet.
was like,
So-
so, maybe watching my channel, bro. They just getting ideas from me.
It seems like it sometimes.
Free quality healthcare. Like, since y'all want to watch my shit and steal my ideas, can we get a doctor's appointment for free? Can I get my teeth fixed? How about it? What up?
I mean, we try to look around the bend and read the tea leaves and just look at the world and see what could possibly be coming next. And these kind of videos that we did with Sarge, it's just spitballing and just throwing some stuff out there that may or may not happen, right? And some of these were supposed to be pretty far-fetched, but Livingston Man's got quite a few pegs on the board already. So let's see. Vision preparedness. Your thoughts on the question at hand. At what point does a proxy conflict officially become WWIII? And are we closer to that threshold than the public realizes?
Yes and yes. I'll start backwards. We are closer to WWIII than the public realizes, because all of these different proxy allies, I'll say, pay attention to what China's doing or not doing. Pay attention to what Russia's doing and not doing. I heard, I don't know how true it is, that, when they start lobbing rocks at Iran, that they had technically similar C-4 carriers take off and was delivering strategic equipment that pretty much would jam the signals of everything we have that's going over there. Is it true? I have no idea. But I believe the more we see of the so-called big allies of Iran and the U.S. start getting more involved, World War III is going to be a checkbox bingo, and hide your kids, hide your wife.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, there's already things allegedly going on in the U.S. that you can connect the dots or maybe not. Don't know. But the more prolific statement is, I think we are closer to World War III more than the public realizes.
I think so too. Unfortunately, I think so too. Yeah. Man, there's a lot of countries taking the brunt of Iran's missile barrages right now.
Right.
And they didn't want to be any part of this, and now they are sucked into this.
Yep.
Apparently, some of the statements I've heard from some of our leadership was that we didn't want to be a part of this, but now we are in this because Israel was going to do this with us or without us. And
right.
If we believed if we allowed them to do that, it would leave all of our military as sitting ducks, and we would have to be reactive and not proactive. So I guess we got drug into it to do our damnedest to try and end those drone barrages and missile launches. But XMYC, you're probably right. But that's the story that I heard from good old Marco Rubio himself.
How long ago was the Venezuela thing? Was 3 weeks?
No, December, the week of New Year's. It was like 2 days before New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Okay, so right at the beginning of the year. And the reason I ask is the Abraham Lincoln or the Gerald Ford was involved. One of those two were involved in Venezuela.
Yeah.
So they had to restock, resupply, and then go across the Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
And the B-2s didn't just magically appear. I mean, they kind of did because they're stealth, but they flew over and ta-da. But
right.
the ships, the capital ships, take a minute, right? It's not the B-1 can be there overnight. The aircraft carrier takes a minute.
No doubt.
We've been moving stuff over there for a while. Now, whether we meant to do it and Israel was like, I'm just going to punch the guy at the next table in the bar and went and did it. It is. It's like a drunk bar fight in the middle.
It is. It really is.
And
scary.
then, Iran got mad and punched the guy playing the piano over in Cyprus. It's like, what are these guys doing? But
it is unhinged.
The thing that gets me is, and this is what I paid the most attention to, the things we don't hear. There were so many backdoor deals. I'm sure some posturing and some threats. I heard one threat that one country said, if you won't, we are. And if we do, it's going to be the worst thing you could do to another country. And I'm going to let y'all read between the lines. And that's why we got involved, because we didn't want them to do that. Bless you, son.
Livingston Man has said over and over again that we are in a post-truth era, and majority of what we are fed is lies and mis and disinformation on a regular basis. And I tend to believe the Livingston Man when he says that. So last up on this question, Livingston Man, at what point does the proxy conflict officially become World War III, and are we closer to that threshold than the public realizes?
I think we're certainly closer to that threshold than the public realizes. And I've actually been sitting here kind of typing into my phone, asking it some questions here. In terms of what you might call a World War III, I have wondered if we aren't already. I mean, some people have considered the Cold War could maybe be considered World War III. The global war on terror maybe could have been considered World War III. It depends on what you frame that into. Pete broke down the general understanding of what a world war is. So what I wanted to know was then how many countries in the world right now, and asked it to in the last 2 years, how many countries have participated in military action? Then I asked it some other things. Now, there are apparently a standard count of there are 195 sovereign countries, 193 UN members, and 2 observer states, the Holy See and Palestine. Understood that. From 2024 to 2026, high-intensity interstate war was conducted by 18 countries. Foreign military intervention was practiced by 14 countries. 46 countries are experiencing internal conflict or counterinsurgency. So the total active engagement is 78 countries are performing military operations in some form or another now, which puts us at 198 countries. We're pushing something like not quite half the world is in military conflict. How much more do we want? Especially now, our typical understanding of World War III generally revolves around the use of nuclear weapons. And that's the ultimate, not even unprecedented. We've done it before. And if somebody goes to do it again, I'll tell you who will fucking play around and do it again. The fears of Iran shooting a nuke at something, if they actually felt that their sovereignty was threatened, they would do that. And the absence of such a thing is odd. I mean, it's not the ace you throw out right away, but the thing to remember is that, and I'm not pointing fingers here, trying to take a political stance. This is fact. Iran is constantly accused of and made a pariah state because of its so-called aspirations to build a nuclear weapon. Unregulated, they won't submit to the things and all this, but whatever. But you know who absolutely doesn't do that is Israel. Israel is widely believed, essentially virtually certain to possess nuclear weapons.
Yep.
Without inspection, without any of the other red tape that any other nation would have to go through. And it's certainly not treated as a pariah state in the same way. So it's an interesting paradox that the stated reasons for us to go to this war are actually our main ally is, you could say, should face those same allegations then, if we're being fair, Why these things turn to shit rapidly, why you're fed one side of the thing. Like you'll notice when you see the headlines that they'll dehumanize the other side and they will humanize our side. The propaganda machine is built much better now. It's so much less detectable. It runs so much smoother. Everything is presented as truth. And virtually never is, though. There's always that murky gray area where everything lives and nobody wants to go because, well, then we'd all feel something or maybe like agree with the other guys. So we never go there. Do your own research, because at this point, the only truth is what you think is true. And there's nothing anybody can really do about that for anybody else.
It's true.
Very, very true, Livingston, man. Man, I got another question here for everybody, and this one's going to start with my brother from another mother, Mr. Vision. Preparedness, pestilence is in the building, folks. Wave the hand, and there go the subscribers. All right, let's just get right into it. If a new public health emergency were declared mañana, would Americans comply the same way they did in 2020?
No.
The same halves of them would and wouldn't.
Yeah. The same halves that took every jab, every booster waster, and, lived in their doctor's office until the next thing came out to get, they will. But I think the majority would not. Not only would they not comply, I think there would be more protesting and unrest to go along with that. Definitely not going to go for lockdowns. So, definitely not going to comply, let alone deal with the short guy that's now been in hiding ever since he started the death toll along with his buddies. So, no, they will not comply, and there will be protests and unrest in the streets, period.
I think you're right, bro. I think you're right. Livingston, man, your thoughts?
As defined as so many of us want to be in the face of this thing, it's important to recognize what kind of threat we're talking about here. Now, something that's extremely virulent, like say Ebola breaks out, don't be like fucking around out in the streets throwing bricks and holding signs. Fucking stay in your fucking house and stay out of that shit's way.
Yeah.
In the case of what we saw with the CVID thing, leads to a broader question of like, it turns into like how they get away with stuff like this. Like it basically came out that like, yeah, like it escaped from a lab and all this wild shit. Like everybody's wildest fantasies was like absolutely like allegedly true. Nope, nothing. Mike always says that what you allow will continue. And what you see is what you have allowed, and it is constantly being pushed to its limits. The last time they did that was a test. I kept saying that the whole COVID thing was them saying we just needed to know what you would do. They had to do this research, and there was no other way except to do it, in perhaps unethically. But the scientists and politicians behind that kind of needed to know what would happen if this happened. And yeah, that shit took lives, and like whether it could have been stopped, should have been stopped, whatever, vaccines work, don't work, not my point. It was a social experiment, maybe not even on purpose, but rapidly turned into one. They're like, here's an opportunity to perform an experiment. We have no other way of replicating or otherwise getting permission or never be able to get away with this again. So they ran with it. The next time we just have to make sure that it's not a drill. And, but I firmly believe that the same people, there's going to be that kind of 48% on either side of that who are like, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to wear the mask. They're going to get the boosters. They're going to act right, do the thing, stay home. And then there's going to be the other ones that don't. and a little bit of filter across the lines as maybe compared to what happened last time. Some people will have like quote unquote learned their lesson, leaning to either side or the other, but I don't really see a big change in it. You already see people flouting the shit, and you see people that'll sacrifice their children and let them die rather than just get modern medicine. That's the thing for you to find in your own morals and stuff like that. I ain't going to tell you one way or another about how to act like that. I got all my vaccines when I was a kid. Look what it does to you. I didn't get that one because I said, I don't think I need that, but I never said that nobody should get that.
Right.
Live your life, do what you do.
Yep.
That was easy.
Nice, Livingston, man. Very nice. The roaming prepper. Your thoughts, my friend. You've had some time to ponder this one. What do you think?
I actually think they would make it because it benefits the gremlins that run society, to keep us upset with each other. They would turn it into what, like they did last time, a political issue. If you don't do whatever, get a pinch, drink this Kool-Aid, or wear this thing on your head, the spaghetti strainer on your head, you're going to make other people sick, and we don't trust you. You remember all those commercials? I don't trust the what does Jason call it? The unticketed.
Yeah, unjabbed.
You didn't get the unpinched, so you're unpinched. You're not cool. You're just a bad. They demonize you, right? Then it flips the other way, and the other side gets pissed off. It's like, I remember what you said. Yep. So, you're protesting. I'm going to hit you with my car. And it goes like that.
Yep.
You're going to see a lot of people will probably question it more because the machine is good at spreading propaganda, but it's also good at getting information. And that's why they shit-canned all of us in different ways. Yep. They put us in jail. They gave us strikes. They hit our comments, all this stuff, because they were trying really hard to suppress certain things. You'll still have people who comply, and then it'll become an issue of, well, you are whatever, a racist, you're the devil, you're because you didn't comply. You're still going to have that core group that's going to say, well, this is what we need to do to protect us. I think, though, a lot of people were hoodwinked, and it pissed a lot of folks off. Even folks, I've seen folks who got the meds, and now they've learned more, and they said, I didn't get it because I was scared. I wanted to visit grandma. And I'm like, well, this will protect grandma a little bit. That was how they approached it, if you think about it. They were like, oh, but you know what? You're going to make grandma sick. And I think people will ask more questions, but you're going to have that core that's not going to play nice. And those are the ones that are going to come after other people and dehumanize them. And while we're fighting with each other, they'll do something in the banking system and screw us again.
100%, brother. 100%. Everything's very personal, right? Everything we do, preparedness is super duper personal. As the Livingston man alluded to, your choices in life are very personal. Everybody has different reasons for doing what they do. Live your life. If it was something you had to do, you had to do it. If it was something that you could have got away with not doing, I'm sure that you got away with not doing it. My concern with a new public health emergency is that this time it may be real, like the Livingston man alluded to. If it's Ebola out in the streets, not something you're going to want to go out and mess with. If smallpox is back, not something you want to go and mess with. And let's face it, folks, they've found biolabs, multiple biolabs and chemical labs inside the United States, in residential areas, in homes, right? Residences, not biological facilities. These are makeshift biolabs and makeshift chemical labs stuck in regular old residential homes. So something to think about, man. This cat could get out of the bag, so to speak, really easy and wreak massive havoc before we even know what the heck is going on. So it's touchy subject, to say the least.
Exactly.
I do have one last question for you gentlemen, and y'all can round robin this one. I am gonna put this up here, and whoever wants to take a stab at it first can. If diesel became scarce for just 10 days nationwide, what shelves go empty first, and how fast does it cascade from there?
I'll take a stab at it.
Go for it, Vision.
Question's not deep. You put a trick word in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, because all trucks, the majority, I say, are diesel, the tractor trailers, blah, 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 FedEx, all those guys, it is just like anything else. If it comes scarce for 10 days, you're going to have a food chain halt, and if not, a total collapse, because anything that gets delivered, because this country has not figured out yet that it's stupid, because we don't manufacture and make anything in this country. So, you know, the docks are going to go dry. The trucks are going to be parked. Your grocery stores do not stock more than 3 days worth of food in them. And then now you're going to have people again fighting over freaking toilet paper, and they don't even need it. They need to get protein and canned goods and shelf stable food. So yeah, 10 days, you got a massive outbreak across the country.
I think you might be right.
Yeah.
No, Livingston Man's going to have at it. Go for it, Livingston Man.
I think that this really boils into almost the same effects you would see with my projected results of your bank shutdown. This is the same thing. Products aren't moving and can't. Even in some cases now, not only trucks, which get brought up a lot, but what people forget is trains. Those stop moving, bringing things out of the ports, and everything runs off diesel. Everything runs off diesel. You start ships stop moving, trains stop moving. The entire like heavy, what would they call this? The Teamster type of thing.
Heavy trucking industry. Yeah.
So it stops, and a 10-day shortage. The United States strategic diesel reserve sits at something like 120 million barrels, which is actually lower than the traditional historic average of about 135. So if you want to talk about a shortage, well, you could technically say that statistically we're already in one. So supply chains are thin. And the thing that gets left out is that this military action around the globe, just environmental disregard and a blatant reliance on these fossil fuels, especially military action abroad, severely weakens our ability to keep this strategic stockpile up, because we're having to, because of the sanctions on Russian and Venezuelan and Iranian oil coming through the Straits of Hormuz and whatnot, we're having to export our oil to keep our allies in our hemisphere afloat. So less of it staying home because we have to keep the rest of the world alive because of sanctions and shipping lanes and conflicts and every other thing. Fuel oil and diesel in general is considered volatile right now because of all this. Every time somebody throws a rocket in an Israeli tank, the price of gas goes up. In this case, well, a lot of rocks are being thrown over there and your prices are going to go up. This could lead to a conversation we don't have time for right now, but let's say that the green electricity push can offset that.
Maybe. I think it can offset it to a point. If your power is generated by nuclear or hydroelectric, if perhaps coal, there's a lot of coal-fired power plants still in operation in the U.S. So we
don't have any coal-fired fucking aircraft carriers, though. Imagine that.
no, not yet.
Look like Donald Howe coming across the ocean smoking.
That was easy.
That was a good one, Livingston.
Donald Howe,
Props,
coal-fired one in the fucking chat.
props on that one.
Sounds like the Addams Family vehicle.
Oh yeah, big time. Vision preparedness. Your thoughts. This is kind of in your wheelhouse, man. The roaming prepper. What do you think if diesel becomes scarce for just 10 days nationwide? What shelves are going empty first, and how fast does it cascade?
Let's say it goes scarce, which would be, I don't think it'll be the same everywhere, because like we have refineries and the wells here.
Yeah, we're screwed up north here.
Like, yeah, in New York State, you're screwed. California, depending on where you live, it's hit and miss. But let's just say it's scarce nationwide, like from some emergency. The government's going to decide, okay, well, there's no diesel for the general public. Screw all of you.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to decide. And it'll get allocated to FEMA, or it will get allocated to the military or the responders. But they're going to be trying to fill the gap of the truckers. And they don't have enough trucks to do that. So then some of that's going to get shuffled off. What's going to wind up happening is what's at the store. And I think the gentleman already touched on this. You're going to see a decrease in what's available. There might still be product at Costco or at Walmart, but it will be diminished. Also, keep in mind a lot of tractors run on diesel too. So that's going to be an issue, because now the crop, you're going to have like an initial issue, right? You know, at like time zero, where, okay, within the first few days, you're going to have, a shortage of food. Then the panic effect, which totally exacerbates it unnecessarily. But then whatever was supposed to be harvested during that time period, if it goes long enough, that's not going to show up in the supply chain. And then months later, you're not going to have eggs or broccoli or whatever it is that was affected. The government will decide who gets the diesel, and the stores will be affected first. Without a doubt, because they'll direct it to the power companies, they'll direct it to the military, and they'll try to coordinate the trucks. But the government doesn't do as good a job as the private sector in respect to that. So I think you're going to see stuff in the shelves start to disappear. And that's assuming nobody freaks out. And all four of us know people are going to flip their shit.
Oh, yeah.
We found out there was no diesel for 10 days. People will be punching each other in the parking lot.
Oh, yeah. There would initially be a hella run on it. It's like as soon as the word got out on Facebook, there would be a run on diesel, and they would have to shut the pumps down, right? Because everybody who has a machine or, let's face it, diesel builds homes, diesel moves the work trucks, diesel moves the food trucks, diesel moves everything around here. I think one of the first things that would go empty on the shelves would be anything other than food. I think any paper products, any clothing goods, any durable goods like that, your Amazon packages and stuff, they're not going anywhere. They're going to keep those trucks in the parking lot and siphon fuel out of them if they need to. Because that stuff, let's face it, it's non-essential, right? We would be down to food and commodities and military and emergency services moving with diesel. And if the diesel's going that short, gasoline's not going to be too awful far behind. So keep that in mind, folks. If you can store fuel, now might be a decent time to do that. Oh, there we go. Good to see you, brother. He says, your safety is your responsibility, and you need to be your own first responder. The police are always minutes away when seconds count. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for stopping in tonight. And his second comment, get armed, trained, and prepared to defend yourself, your family, and community with extreme prejudice. Good to see you, my friend. And, man... It just seems like the slippery slope is getting greased on a regular basis, gentlemen. we don't know what the future holds, right? We're all trying to read the tea leaves, but we are so immersed in the fog of war right now. We don't even know which way is up.
Right.
All we know is we're just continuing to push forward. At least we think it's forward, because the fog of war is all around us, and we could very well be walking in circles right now. But hey, at least we're upright and walking. So
I'm going to say something really profound right now. Okay. Quote.
let her
me on
rip,
it.
Tater Chip.
The cogs that run the engine never see where the tires go.
Ooh.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Apocalyptic Awakening, my brother. Good to see you. That's tomorrow. Tonight, the
Right.
4 Horsemen ride. And you know what comes after that?
Yes.
That's right. We all gonna die Wednesday.
All gonna die.
I thought you meant something a little more debaucherous.
I really hope everybody out there is doing the things, getting as prepped as you can, and just keeping the ball rolling, man. Fossil Channel, great to see you too. Thank you for all your help. If you guys don't subscribe to the Fossil Channel, you should definitely go check him out. Radio Guru. He's got some awesome reviews on some bags and gadgets and so much cool stuff on his channel. Fossil Channel, great dude. Helped me out immensely with the Meshtastic Network and still helping me out with the ham radio stuff. Thank you so much, Fossil Channel. Really appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, you're the second reason why my pockets just got lighter. The Fossil Channel.
Yeah, I introduced Trent to the Meshtastic. So Vision Preparedness is he's going to bring the Meshtastic to Ohio here soon. So
yes.
If you're in Ohio, hook up with Vision Preparedness and get your Meshtastic network up and running as soon as freaking possible, because, well, take a look around, folks.
Yes.
Look at your news headlines. Get your comms up. Get your no comms plan up. Talk to your family. Tell them what to do when the phones don't work anymore, right?
Yes.
And drill them. Write it on a little Post-it note, fold it up, put it in their wallet, put it in their pocketbook, put it in something they carry with them that they're going to look in when everything freaks out, right? And they're going to find this little note and say, oh, that's right. Dad said.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Go out in the world. Go out in the world and put it on the scales.
Yep.
What you were told, what you see, which ways does it lean? Always keep your head about you. And as we keep pointing out, you can't know the truth, but you can do the best with what you can deduce from
what's out there right now.
This that we're all dealing with right now. And remember, in your dealings with other people, that you ain't got to like nobody, trust nobody, but always come out with, people say respect is earned. And I understand that, but I give it first as a foundation of any social interaction. Okay. Respect. And it depends on whether I get it back, but at least I can say, hey, I did. Now,
someone once told me, lead with respect, and if it continues to be respectful, depends on their reaction.
Right.
Very good.
Go
100%.
Whatever that means to you, but like I said, my little parable about being lied to, essentially, and like isolating myself in my own little world because I was told some bad news through the black screen, and then I dared to venture a couple more miles away from home and realized that illusion was shattered. Okay, it was false. So don't let yourself get trapped in your own little 3-mile triangle, man. Make sure you can step outside of it sometimes.
Well said, Livingston, man. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed tonight's discussion, make sure that you like this video. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel, to the Roaming Preppers channel, to the Livingston Man channel, and to Vision Preparedness's channel. Make sure you're subscribed to all these amazing channels. If you want to go even deeper into preparedness, collapse analysis, and the systems that are shaping our future, tomorrow night, right here on this channel, live, we all gonna die Wednesday, right? New episode every week for like 160 weeks and running. We're there. Until next time, stay aware, stay stay prepared, and keep doing the things, folks. Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival and the Four Horsemen. And we will catch y'all on the next live stream.
Clench fists on the truth, we connect like a chain. Got the crowd leaning in for the clash of the brains. Every take heavy, every word on flame. If you scared of the storm, better guard your frame. Steel string swing, let the bass line growl. We dissect, redirect, call a fear out loud. From the myths to the markets, all masks come off. When the horsemen ride in, fake thrones get tossed. Yeah, this the Four Horsemen podcast. Say it once, let the name hit back. Four voices, one raw broadcast. If you came for the smoke, we pass that. Four horsemen ride. Oh, four horsemen ride. Yeah, oh. Keys strike like a gavel when the facts come down. Every angle on the table, spin the whole thing round. We don't chase trends, we expose those scripts. Put the pressure on the line till the surface splits. Big talk at the bar, now it's live on air. If it shakes your beliefs, that's the price of fair. From the grind to the grief to the wins we stack. Cross the line, press play, ain't no turning back. Yeah.